Hey guys, Ben here from Second Dynasty. Today I thought we'd do something a little bit different and just go over Exoplanet Colony, our current Kickstarter. Link is in the description below. I have recorded a video, it was quite lengthy, so about a 15-minute chunk of this episode will be dedicated to showing that off. As well as just taking care of some business, like for example, our tribes release for this month was the Comanche Dropship. And yeah, I'm going to show that off. I was going to start a new Maya. We might actually just do that. No, we won't go. We'll do that at the end of the show because I don't want to interrupt our regular process. Although what I am seeing now is that the 15-minute video doesn't seem to have synced with my Dropbox. I'm just hopefully, wait, where did it go even? You know what, let's start this off by just having the opening trailer that we had for the campaign. Hi, I'm Ben from Second Dynasty. For 8 years, we've been designing 3D printable science fiction scenery for your tabletop, from nostalgic interiors to complete starships. If you're like me, you might have backed a lot of STL campaigns. And maybe it's getting hard to justify backing more. Either you already own a mountain of unpainted terrain, or have a horde of STL files choking up your hard drive. I get overwhelmed by the sheer volume, and there's a big reason why. I don't have time to paint it all. Miniatures and even vehicles can be fun to paint up and detail, but terrain and massive starships, they get tedious, taking weeks or even months to complete. But with the rise of affordable multicolor FDM solutions, you can bring your tabletop to life. Color FDM printing changes everything. By using just a few different color filaments and types, you can achieve amazing results, metallic finishes, and amazing detail without pulling out a single paintbrush. We are now including the files for you to print easily and color yourself. Aside from color print friendliness, our Exoplanet Colony uses our GridForge tile and frame system. It allows you to slot in tiles and hot swap them. Use an empty grid for fog of war, or swap out tiles on the fly to change the scenario conditions. The frames and walls connect with our tiny supporting clip, which is a fraction of the size of other clips and prints very fast. Wow your players with our prefab colony corridors, our research lab, power plant, executive suite, hangar, vehicle bay, and of course the exterior terrain. And populate it all with our awesome vehicles and miniatures. We need your help to expand the Exoplanet Colony range and grow GridForge to a wider audience. So, what are you waiting for? Stop painting and start printing today. Oh no. I turned my microphone off and I've been... you know what, guys? I'm going to relaunch the... Well, I better not relaunch the stream. I'm going to cut this out later. I'm so sorry. I must have been talking for like 10 minutes there almost without sound. So my apologies. Hopefully you can hear me now. John, can you let me know if you are staying for the entire session? And if so, maybe you could collect a few questions if there are regarding the Kickstarter. Mike is back. Really, Ben? We didn't notice? Okay, 5 minutes. Not too bad. So, great start. There's always got to be something on a live stream, especially one that I'm promoting not just on the regular live stream, but on the Kickstarter itself. Way to go, Ben. Awesome job. Maybe I'll cut that down. So, we stream every Friday, and this session I'm going to dedicate to Cocytus Station. I have found the video and it is uploading to my Dropbox. Oh, it says network error. Great. I'm just going to check in the background if that is working. Let's see. I need me another window. I swear this wasn't as disorganized a while back, so I'm sorry about that. You can kind of see this little girl over here as well. I'll show that off at the end of the stream, although it is not related to the Kickstarter directly. So I'm just zooming in here so that you can't see what I'm doing in the background. Alright, I can switch it back now. The program I'm using is Maya. It's not the best program in the world for creating STL models, but it does work, and I come from an animation background, and this is the software that I learned. So it's decent at polygonal modeling, and then I convert these pieces into STL files, applying all 8 years of my knowledge base into creating them. And anyone that's listened to me in the last like 3 months or so knows that I am absolutely mad about using multicolor printing now. Fun tidbit, you might be sitting there thinking, but I have a regular FDM printer that can take one filament at a time. You know, you can actually pause a print midway through. It's very easy to do. Switch out a filament and continue. And whilst it's not great for everything, there are a number of parts of this collection, particularly these hallways, which are made up of several different parts, which print separately. So you could actually do like the frame in silver, these sort of like corrugated areas in a darker matte gray. You could do the green inserts on the inside, and that way get a really nice appearance anyway, despite only using, you know, one print at a time. And that will, you know, you just print the bed with this color, you print the next bed with that color. It can be done that way. Or with some of them where it's like starts on one color, switches to another. So for example, these walls here, you could just do a simple stop here at this point and a simple stop there, so that you could switch out silver for brown, and you would have a two-tone, rather nice effect, especially if you combine that with like a silver, which is a silk or metal color, and a matte brown of some kind, or whichever other color you would like to do. What we actually provide is, let's see, I've got a bit of a workshop scene here, but we have our 3MF files, which have the coloring split up, and this is just an example, but you would get our 3MF files, which have these settings in them, and if you had just a single tone printer, it'll just print it in that single filament. So it can still be printed, and of course we're providing regular STL files as well. Now let me check in the background if this video actually has synced or not. I imagine it's quite large, because it was 15 minutes and I did put it on ultra high definition, so it's possible it just didn't sync. And it's still not there. Wonderful. Okay, let me just try re-uploading this again in the background whilst I talk. I can do that on my phone. But yeah, if you do have any questions regarding the campaign, please do put your questions in the chat. I don't know if John actually heard what I said, so Oh, he said, don't worry, I am here. So I'm going to assume that's what that was about. So let me go share, and then Dropbox, add to Dropbox, and then put it in the folder. And hopefully this can continue in the background, because this really is the best tour. Like, seeing it in video is much better than seeing it in 3D, but nowhere near as good as actually seeing it in real life. Unfortunately, my phone camera, even though it's supposed to be pretty good, is not fantastic in the dark. So the image quality varies. So John, I meant more like if you can save it for the end, but we can do one part at a time. So whilst this says preparing to upload, I can take this. So the question is, with the 13K stretch goal, is there a way to move between floors, stairs, ladders, lifts, ramps, or will that be another stretch goal or something? So the 13K stretch goal, I believe, is the lower level. So I have started working on a way to get down to the next level. So that's here. It says it's uploading in the background. We'll see. It said that last time too. Technically though, this just uses existing parts. So for example, the staircases are in the garage section. So you can very easily just make it like a two-tier sort of thing, and you already have all of the parts to do that, technically. Will we do a more dedicated sort of, I guess, up and down stretch goal? We possibly could do that. We haven't touched lifts for a while. It all depends. This campaign might pick up, or it might stay at a relatively slow pace. So it all depends about how much we get to. And very much this session is about stretch goals, showing off what we have in 3D, because the pictures really don't show it off well. And as well as showing you all of the sections. So I am a little bit sorry to say that now I think I've repeated between the video here and what I'm showing you now about 3 different times. So I might just timestamp this when we're finished the stream. Let's see. So if in one of the Kickstarter updates, could you add all of the filament colors that you are using for Exoplanet campaign? Sure, I can do that, Brendan. No worries. So the long and short of it though is I've been using bamboo filaments because I use bamboo A1 mini with AMS light installed on it. The AMS light in particular is not very friendly with other filament types. So for ease of use, like you can get away with one separate where you put it on the regular track and then feed it into the AMS. The AMS is a device to feed into a regular printer 4 different colors and switch on the fly. So yeah, I've been using a combination of their silks, mattes, and metals, translucents, and basic filament. Honestly, it's easier to go onto their website and just pick which colors you want to use in different sections. But for example, the exterior terrain's done in terracotta. The other thing too is like filament can get a little bit of like subsurface lighting effects. So it glows slightly under different lighting, so it can have a more organic feel to it that I just can't really show off even with my camera. So let's see, it still says it's uploading in the background. I wonder how big this thing is. So I don't see anything appearing here, and of course Dropbox is not going to update because I'm streaming. Oh, I wonder if that is an effect. Let's see. Let's turn the notifications back on. Maybe it'll show us if it's doing anything. Right at the moment it doesn't look like it. So sorry about that. I'll keep that in the background. That's what happens when I film things 15 minutes before a stream. Let's see. Close that off. And hopefully Dropbox is doing its thing. We shall see. If not, I will re-upload it when it's finished as a separate video. Alright, now I'm going to be getting ahead of myself a little bit because the video was meant to be sort of like an overview intro sort of thing as to what I'm showing off. But today I really wanted to talk about the campaign in particular. So, Exoplanet Colony, we are successfully funded, which is great. Now let's get rid of this little menu. There's a link in the description below if you want to check it out. We did show the intro before, that's why I cut off my mic and then forgot to turn it back on. I am slowly updating the graphics a little bit, but there is here a free sample, which is our executive boardroom. That will give you the 3MF file to provide the all of the color detail in our print settings. So when it's a case of you want to use multiple different plates, and this is the other thing, if you have the 3MF that we provide, you're kind of automatically getting our colors or something close to them. But to 100% say every single filament I've used, that would be a challenge. I could go and look at my orders maybe, but that's a bigger thing to look back over. I don't remember all of the filaments I've used, although the really cool garage scene that was using like a copper metal filament, for example. But yeah, color printing, this demonstrates the beauty of it. I feel like this is just 4 different colors, and this is one single matte filament, and the difference is night and day. Now, how this came about, a part of it was simply, you know, a cool project to do. And color printing, you know, has been something that's been in my periphery, but not really a focus, because I've kind of been of the mind that, you know, what's the point of designing for something that, you know, a fraction of the people that own FDM printers are going to have at the moment. The things that have changed is you can now get an A1 Mini with an AMS light for around about $400, I think it is. It might be even cheaper right now with Black Friday sales going on. So it's suddenly very accessible, and the A1 Mini, look, normally I don't like to shill for particular companies, but the Bamboo series is the kind of FDM printer where a beginner can use it and almost nothing goes wrong with it. The only real issues we've had is adhesion issues, which is easily remedied by just cleaning your plate properly after each use. Otherwise, that's about it. Occasionally, we might have like a stuck filament or use an old filament that gets, you know, snaps off. But honestly, they're as close to fire and forget printers that you can get at the moment, at least in my experience. There might be other experiences as well. So, but the main issue we've had is that we have this absolutely massive collection of models that we've made, and we'd love to paint them up, but we just don't have the time. And I mean, we're like a professional studio. We don't have the time, and painting our ships, like, it can take literally months of time. It's very tedious, you know, you got to be careful. You can't hold a paintbrush for 8 hours in a row, or an airbrush, you know. So it's kind of got to be done over a longer period of time. So it's been a real issue. We've put out so many Tribes releases, vehicles that look really awesome, but we'll just never have time to paint them. And so now, all of a sudden, here along comes color printing. And the Electo, I haven't updated the files yet, but this was the original print that I did in a single filament. And I just wanted to see what the difference would be, because I kind of felt like, even with all the cool lighting in the background, this version looked a little bit flat. This looks incredible with lighting on. And I think you can tell even from this tiny picture, but you can just see here, you actually can get writing very easily in. You can use any font that's on your system. I've even used some semiotics, and we've got a closer picture here. There is a little bit of reflection going on, which makes it harder to see. And then, of course, you can actually combine different filaments in different sections to have even more color than I've used here. And aside from the miniatures in this campaign that are shown off, and I think just the power loader, everything else is just color filament and brick bling lighting. So we should be talking all about the lighting next week. I think I've been putting it off a little bit. We are going to have some discounts with them. But yeah, I just wanted to show off the campaign and check it out there. But if you're interested in how the color printing works, do click on our free download here. We're hosting the files ourselves, and you can kind of see how it's set up. All right, so let's see if this has uploaded. It does kind of look like it's refreshing. Come on. It's just not my day, apparently. So. Oh, yeah, okay, I can see it here. 2 files remaining, and they're going at a snail's pace. Wow. It's going like 1 megabyte a minute. 6.8 gig, no wonder it's taking a long time. I did want the quality up there, so we'll see. I'll leave the window open. Maybe if we're lucky to be done by the time we're finished, but it really doesn't look like it. Wow, that's crazy slow. 3%. Sorry guys, I thought that would be more exciting. Such is life. Alright, do we have any other questions, John? Okay, yeah. The reward tiers. So if you are coming from our expendable campaign, we have the special expendable survivor pledge level, reward tier. And that includes everything that was missing from the last campaign. Technically, there are a few different vehicles included with this one and vice versa. Yeah, it's everything new, even what's not seen here. So every stretch goal as well. And if we do happen to, change some things about the original, like add some additional files to a different section, of course you'll get those as well. All right. So then we have the colonist, which is everything in this campaign. 500 plus models is just what I counted this morning with the STL files in the folder. It's 550 at the moment, and that's excluding the 3MF files, which brings it up even further. That sounds intimidating, but it's really not. It's a little bit closer to, once with all the variants and whatnot, it's just plenty of flexibility. And then, of course, you can mirror things if there's something missing. We're kind of trying to find a balance between overwhelming and sensible. Let's see. Questions were already answered by you, sir. Oh, how nice. How nice. All right, and then the collector is... the Terraformer has 20 additional vehicles. Now, just a word of warning, these are not set up for color printing at present, aside from the APC and Electo, which will be, out when we release. And the collector is everything we've made to date, so that will include all of our Traveler stuff, all of our full 28mm scale starships, ACF fleet, the Beowulf, all of it. It does come at an insane price as well. However, what can I say? There's over 800 products in there, 8 years worth of stuff. And then we've broken down the add-ons here, so there's a bit more detail. Obviously, you can look at this yourselves if you wish. We also have a little budget here for adding on to 3DO, which is our print planning software, to add some additional GridForge compatibility. So that's like an add-on, optional add-on to help support that project. It's not worthy enough of its own Kickstarter. Technically, GridForge stuff is still importable, but there's not really you know, the snapping and that in place. I don't know. John knows more about that than I do. And what I really wanted to do this stream for is to show off our stretch goals. Yay, 6%. Yeah, it might be done by the end of the stream. So, amazingly, we have hit our fourth release stretch goal. Actually, we need to refresh the page because, hey, that didn't come through. Maybe I forgot to save the graphic, but I did change it so that it is unlocked. I don't know, Control F5 maybe I need to do. Did it pop up? Let's go stretch goals and expansions. No, I don't know what's going on there. I'll have to check it out after the stream. John says you can snap and all that, but you have to know the software very well. There you go. So it needs to be dumbed down. Depending on the budget, we'll either improve the current version or John will have a budget to rework a lot of that. So let's talk about what we have released so far. So let's go into Maya because I think it'll be a bit easier to see here. We might have to turn off a few layers here to see everything because there is a lot going on in this scene. I really would prefer it not to crash. So let's see. Let's turn off, or turn on rather, the stretch goals section. Now, I also have organized some folders here so it's a little bit easier to see for me, well, everything. So let's look at the cable pack. So these look kind of simple, but they're actually designed so that when they print, they just have a single filament thread through there, so that it's only using 1 or 2 layers. Now, PLA is not super flexible, but the thinner it is, the more flexible it is. So for example, one of our more recent, let's see, I've got to make sure I use the right one here because I don't want to upset this too much. Here we go. I think that's the... that feels thinner. Sorry, what I'm doing off camera here is I actually have this, which is my spa bath water. But you can kind of see that... Actually, I should use a different camera. Let's switch to the close-up camera. No, movable camera. There we go. So we can kind of see the table. You can see some other things in there. Just saying. I haven't finished building it yet, but there's my 1 to 3,000 macros. And this beauty is this month's Tribe release, the Comanche Dropship, which of course, being a Second Dynasty product, has an interior. You've got a place there for your soldiers, foldable seats, working ramp. Even the missiles and the missile launchers here, you can pull them out. I think they're in a bit tight, but let me see if I can do this. You've got to find the right one. I've pushed them right in there. Okay, there we go. So you can actually launch the missiles, also color prints. My camera really sucks at focusing, so you'll have to bear with me. But yeah, what I want to show off is the flexibility of PLA. So this is hot tub order. For this, one of the stretch goals, right? So this is my hot tub. It has this insert for the water. This is one of the, I think our 6th stretch goal. We can look at it a bit more, but I just wanted to demonstrate, like, this is maybe between 2 and 8 layers thick. So it has a little bit of flex in it. Like, it's not a huge amount of flex, but the fewer layers you use, the more flex it has. So how the cables work, and I'm trying to see if I actually have any here. I have like an early prototype here. So this is one of them. It's probably not going to come into focus too much. It has like a flatter side. You can kind of see this line up the middle, or you would be able to see it if it actually focused. And maybe I should just see. I think I can get some more ambient lighting in here. Let's see, I can turn on my light box. Bit more lighting, and then even more lighting hopefully that helps a bit. I've got fluorescent lights in the ceiling, so they flicker too much. Let's see, this does look a lot better. Alright, so you can kind of see closer up, hopefully. Come on, autofocus. Do your thing. There's movement here. Oh well. Yeah, anyway, you can see it does have a little bit of flex. It's not perfect. It can be twisted a little. Right? Not perfect, but better than nothing. And I think we'll be able to refine it just a little bit more. So that's our first stretch. Let's look at the second, which is our science station there. So back to our catalog, and I want to make sure I've got my chat up as well. Hot tub time machine is no good. You need a hot tub time and relative dimension in space machine. I kind of imagine putting like a little roof on the top with like the police box light thing. But yeah, anyway, I'm being silly. Let's unhide our, let's see, where did it go? Hide the cables and show the science console. So let's focus on that. So this is just a variant of our other science stations here. It has a similar computer, old style of sort of science table, although with a few little modifications compared to other variants. And the big thing here, of course, is that we allow for color printing. I think maybe the sample container will make a bit larger, so it's more practical. They get very fiddly. The tiniest ones, I think we had to do in a single color. So this prints out all right. And you can see some of Blasted Camouflage's cool little critters in there. Done way back when we did Odyssey. Let's see, so that's that one. The third one is our earthen ramps. Now, those I don't have in this scene, but I do have them in the preview file if it actually loads up. So let's see, we're at 11%. I don't think this is going to be done in time. I have a feeling it's going to be uploaded as a separate thing. As a stretch goal, can we get some non-retro terminals, i.e. flat screens or maybe a curved monitor? To be perfectly honest, Dalton, probably not. It's not the aesthetic of the base. It can be done in the future. Oh great, it says error. Just upload it. Oh. I don't know how we're going to figure that one out. Sorry about this. It's even becoming a massive distraction, which is not great. Alright, well I guess I'll have to figure this out some other way after the stream, in any case, because this is creating way too much of a distraction. So this I don't have imported in the scene, so let's move over to lower corridors. And I'll bring in some of the terrain that I've already printed out for this one in a second. So let's go back here and look at our lower corridors. They're actually here. I've done variants now for everything except for doorways. And like the other sections, they assemble in multi-parts. So you have like these slide in, these slide in. The frame is done as one part. The inserts are done as a multicolor secondary print. And so we have 1 to 4 pieces for those. And you have a demo section over here set up with how it would look. And you can kind of see a preview of some of the stuff that I'm working on in the background. So you have this sort of second level below. And I was kind of like imagining this as like, obviously one of the huge inspirations for this colony is Aliens and Had Leaves Hope. And there is that scene, of course, when Newt gets abducted from like a flooded area. So I was thinking like this could be an area that you could potentially flood. And you could do something similar to what I did with the hot tub, which I'm going to be showing off shortly, where you just have a filament insert that you stick in there. If you don't want to do the whole shadow lager solution of silly putty. So yeah, we have that as an option that has just been unlocked. And this is probably the thing I'm most excited about. It also is the best at demonstrating about how large a stretch goal actually can be in practice. So some are going to be simpler than others. Some are fairly low effort. But I'm actually prototyping as I go in this case. So there's going to be... It'll mostly be a case of once the campaign is finished, having to actually organize the files and put them out, not a case of having to make the files printable. So I do anticipate we should be able to deliver possibly everything at this rate before Christmas. So let's get to the next one, which would be our cable management. So I'm just going to isolate this. This is like just some of it. And again, designed for brick building. Now these are kind of clever ways to disguise, like the circuit boards fit into here. You can get some nice color printing going on there. There's some alternative exterior wall pieces here where you can sort of feed cables through. I still need to test print these in particular. I have a sneaking suspicion I might have to make this gap a little bit larger. But the main thing is just being able to get the cable threaded through in such a way that it's not affecting the slide mechanism. This is just cable management, I figure. Like this little object that you can just thread the cables through, and it kind of looks like a power box of some kind. And these just plug into the middle level. And that's also something I'm looking at doing as a Kickstarter. I would love... sorry, not a Kickstarter. As a stretch goal. You can kind of see these open lock slots that a lot of people find a bit of an eyesore. So the power boxes, for example, can connect here. That's where I've got one of mine in the video I was going to show you guys, but apparently I don't get to. So I would like ways to make use of this. And for example, if you're using this new section with the 2 stories, you still have the same issue where you've got these clip holes exposed. So I'm kind of thinking like gangways, walkways, that sort of thing, suspended. You could have power lines. You could have just some greeblies. So I'm really thinking like a later stretch goal could be that sort of thing. AHL is well within scope at this point. Maybe not at this scale. Dalton's like determined. It's going to happen. The Azanti High Lightning, for example, is a very, very, very large, was it 12,000 ton ship from Traveller, which if you printed it at our scale would literally take up the length of our office, I think, if it's all laid out. Let's see. Persephone, yeah, Persephone is my love letter to the Nostromo. It will be released next year. For health reasons, I'm going to scale back a little bit next year, but I am planning to make the large campaign for the year Persephone. I hope it pays off. Other than that, I think we're going to do a GridForge tied to Traveller. So there will be more Traveller stuff next year. We've had to go ahead that we can extend our license at least a year more. And that should tie in nicely with something else that I believe has been announced. If not available, about a certain has anyone talked about Stars Without Numbers? I don't know if that's official news yet. I hope it is announced. Yeah, anyway. So it should have been at this point, but yes, there will be some options. So we would like to be able to do deck plans of ships, so with GridForge, so that, you know, we've done many incredible full 28mm scale ships for Traveller. Most of them though for past editions of Traveller, not Mongoose Traveller. And there are so many different variants that the thing that's probably most important to people is actually being able to have a deck plan. So GridForge is a great way to sketch things up, and I can see us having like a full detailed version like we have here, or just having tiles that represent what's in there. So essentially having a three-dimensional map of sorts that you could still move miniatures around on. Anyway, did we have anything else in our stretch goal section that I haven't showed off yet? I don't think so. We're getting to the hot tub, so I will just switch cameras. And let's see, maybe I can show that off with the other camera here. So, again, this is the piece. And the only trick is it's a bit hard to get the top off. It's wedged right in there, and I don't want to destroy it too much. So you can kind of see here, I'm lifting it up. We'll see if I've got something I can wedge it with. Some good old. Here we go. Should be able to wedge that out. So you've got your regular model, and that is printed in 3 filaments. So we've got our Titan Grey down the bottom, and actually as the tiles on the inside and top here. Then we've just got a silver, and we've got, I think that is like a beige type color. I'm not sure if it's sand maybe. So you've got your steps, and then we've got clear filament. Now, well, clear filament, I mean translucent filament, so you can see through it somewhat, but yeah, it's hard to get super clear with FDM, to be perfectly honest. So this is the last version I had, and my next iteration is this one to try. So I'll see if that fits. Hopefully it will be a better fit than the last one. And a tip for this one is there's a little notch here in the stairs, and that's where you want to sort of like push it down from this side. Oh, and then it should wedge down into place. And you can kind of get this sort of effect of, a watery surface. It even looks like there's some bubbles going on, right? And again, sorry about the non-focusing camera. I'm just going to double check that it's not actually the settings. You can actually see the lower level here. So let's we'll just double check the camera settings and make sure the exposure is on auto. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. As usual, it's just decided to do its own thing. So yeah, here is the lower level. And man, this really sucks. Maybe I should be moving the camera itself. I've got too many nice things in the background that are taking the focus away. So it's actually easy to see from back here. And again, that's just the effect of like a matte filament here with these sort of inserts. I have a blank piece here. So this is hot off the printer with the back piece. You can see 2 filaments there. There's one base filament, and there is the silver there. So this is the same color as that beige chair in the hot tub. I'm just pulling off. I had some mouse ears to make sure the print didn't come off the plate because it was overnight. Then we have this section separate, and all you do is you just slot it in there, and then just use your thumbnail or something thin to push down. And that's slotted nicely into place, and you can see it's not coming out whatsoever, right? And then hopefully I've got one of the smaller pieces here somewhere. So there's like a corrugated piece that fits in here as well, but I'm not sure I've got any printed out at the moment. I knew I did too many on the outside. Let's leave it there. And then the other insert, which is printed separately. This uses 3 different filaments. This is the correct orientation. You can see there's some warping on this one. It just fits in here, like so. There's a little hook down the bottom to keep things in. And then to be doubly sure, you actually clip it together up here into a row. So you end up with a result that looks like this. It's Friday. Well, there's a section of it finished. Nothing came out though, so I guess that is a testament to how well made they are. And of course, you can change the color of these. I accidentally printed some with a yellow base, some with this grey color, which is what I wanted to have, but I ran out of filament. And you know, the downside to Black Friday sales of filament is that everyone's bought out the good stuff before I could get to it, so it is what it is. Okay, let's move back to the live streaming chat. Alright, I've got to admit, that's thrown me off so much, the fact that I can't show that video. It's really, really annoying. Although now it's saying it's uploading, so I don't know. It looks almost finished. We'll see, we might get there yet. Thrilled to get to structures for my GridForge set. What do you mean by structures, Shadow Lega? So look at Maya again. So that little hot tub section actually drops down here, and what I'm not showing off here is a lot of the extra stuff. So why don't we just look at my workshop sort of files? And that will give you a bit of an idea about some of the stuff I'm planning to work on, just how comprehensive this all is. Let's see, there are a few other sections, like I've got this little computer core that I was going to make GridForge compatible, a little bit more modular for your sort of mother type scenario. I'm going to hide that again because it's in an awkward spot. And oh, the last thing that's probably coming up soon is, like, I wanted a larger hanger connector, and I kind of also want one for the garage. So I think one, you know, maybe 16K or 17K. I think we're just going to do 1000K on this one. This campaign's not gonna have a huge amount of releases, but I really enjoy working on it too. That's the thing. The reason I put so much work into this in particular is because I actually get a lot back. And even though I haven't run anything lately, I am extremely excited to sort of run a Alien Evolved Edition RPG scenario using all of this. You can see some bits and bobs there as well. So really, this is sort of like a work in progress file. So I haven't put these out either. That's a possibility for some low-hanging fruit variants. This kind of shows the modularity of these doors. And I can actually get some detail out that's easier in the final print than in here. So let's see. Oh, it says it's uploaded. So I think we'll finish the stream with the video if it works. Let's see. Press F5. I better make sure I sync it on this thing as well. I think it's on a different drive. Yeah, this is the one, because it actually has some Traveler stuff in it. So that'll sync, and then we'll end the video on it. And yeah, alrighty. Let's see. Kathy says she wants/needs to do some buildings for Scut City. Still wondering how to do exterior walls so you can pick stuff up easily. Yep, I mean, this is an issue that we've had as well. The simple thing is just having side clips. So you can clip together wall sections, move them pretty easily. I have this divided into like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sections. They're slightly clipped together, and I think I'm actually going to create use one of the ramps to get up here, but have it go underneath this, and then I want to expose some of this corridor as well. So we'll see what we can do with a combination of ramps and things. At the moment, there's not like a really great way to transition from a regular wall to the rock face. The closest I've come is here, and it still feels a little bit unnatural, just sort of like ending there. Yeah. Alrighty, let's see if this is synced. Still Downloading. Not giving me too much information here. It's not telling me the speed, so... Oh, it's finished. Alright, okay, cool. So I can run that at the end, and I'll turn my microphone off, and then we'll just end after that video. But, and then I think I'll put it up separately. But, yeah, so if there are any last questions before we switch to the video, let me have them. You can kind of see here the progress on the hot tub and then the final version, because we wanted to create some distinctness from the talking pit. And yeah, you can kind of see some of the other machinery variants, and like, yeah, there's just a ton of different stuff. I don't have all of the vehicles in here. Some of them are, some of them aren't there. Part of that is just limitations of Maya. I don't want to kill it. But yeah, I'd like to do some plants. I'd like to do, you know, a computer core. I'd like to do an operations, but I don't think that's going to happen. I kind of have to pick based on the scale of the campaign. And it looks like, you know, we might get to a point where by the end of the campaign we hit about 20k. That'd be great. I'm not saying boo to that whatsoever. But I think, honestly, a new segment of the base, that would be a considerably higher stretch goal. And, you know, would have like 100 plus parts. So we'll see how things go. The fat lady is not sung. We're only halfway through, but historically the way campaigns go, they tend to have a bit of a lull in the middle and then a final hit. So let's check it out. Bit of an unrelated question that Ohio Brian had. Building the Odyssey, what external weapon mounts fit and where? I also have the conning tower. Okay, cool. So I can answer that very quickly because Odyssey is here. So we did make, on the opposite side of the ship, and actually there's the conning tower over there. I just don't have it attached because there's not enough room between the shelves. There are like laser lens arrays, and then there are also turret placements. So you should be able to use the side-mounted turret placements from the Chimera stretch goals, and that would let you use any of our standard turrets. And yes, there are some side-mounted arrays. I'm not sure if we ever made a way for the, you know, top part to actually have dorsal-mounted turrets, but I feel like it might be possible. Like we might have done that variant, but I don't remember. It's been a while. That was I think 3 years ago at this point. I'm not sure. Alrighty, what else we got? We've got, you could use a tighter grid size around the edges, Kathy. Yes, that's one option too. I used 3s, but I've switched to 4s just for a bit of a snugger fit. I mean, GridForge is fantastic as a system, and like I don't think I've shown it off too much, but like, for example, here, these are half made. This is a special piece, but if we just bake it all down to the basics, you got your bases. These are supported clips. These tiny, tiny little things. They're surprisingly strong. Designed by John. All of this system is designed by John. That just connects into the next frame, like so. That's just one clip here, right? Pretty impressive. And the beauty of having the frames separate is you can easily replace the floors with whatever. And now walls as well. We'll put out some templates for the walls that we've used so that, you know, people can use our system. And there's always going to be custom solutions. Like, for example, this is a non-standard base, so it has a see-through. These are more traditional bases from the hangar floors. So that just, you know, fits into the frame, snaps in place. This is a 3-fit, so it's got a lot of structure. You need to really shake it. Actually, that's a fairly snug fit. I guess the benefit of the larger size pieces is they've got more points of contact. So you can just push from underneath to get them out or wedge them up like so. So you can do cool things too, like say we have this floor. right? And imagine that floor continues. Now, where did it go? One thing I've been experimenting with is like these broken tiles. And this is the most recent iteration. It doesn't quite work 100%. And actually, I've gotten this sort of melting effect by just taking a naked flame to it, so it kind of like droops a little. So you could, for example, on the fly, have like an alien die, acid splash this flooring, and then swap it out for the alternative piece. Mind you, we'll probably do some grids with proper holes in them as well. I did do one, but I'm not sure I printed it. And then the walls work in the same way. So let's plug this back in again. So you just connect them in, same way, and you can either connect them or just put them in next to each other. So I think this was another victim of me dropping stuff. So you could, put an outside. Sorry, that's still got some bases on it. Just plug that in, and then let's see if we've got a corner. There we go, like so. All in place, and with a 3 that's fairly, solid. And then if you need to hot swap it for something else, you can. That will go in there. I haven't taken the... these are not supports, it's a mouse here. So if you've got a full print bed of stuff, it's just a little bit of extra material, a kind of brim of sorts that's easier to remove, just to ensure that you're not wasting a 24-hour print. Now, I will say, with a wavy hand, color prints do take longer. So this thing, for example, probably is about 3 days of printing, depending on how much you want to switch, which is a lot. But I think of it in this way. How many hours would I have to spend to paint it to look this good? And, I mean, the numbering, the symbols on the wing, all of that's 3D printed in. You don't have to worry about it. And obviously you can take the cockpit lid off. You can also, whoops, you can take the weapon systems off the wings. The ramp at the back comes down. You just need to find the little hook there, like so. You can see the seating in there, and you can see it more clearly if you just take the lid off. Now I know there is a bit of a flaw here where these full clip holes on the upper end. These ones fit, so just use those if that's what you want to do. I just leave it loose. But yeah, lots and lots of detail. Color is like, I think it's the future. And when you consider how much stuff, I can't tell you how much stuff I've bought STL wise, and I've never printed it, because what I thought about is I would love to use this in my D&D game. I would love to use this in my sci-fi game. Problem is, I don't want to present to my players something like this, which is just grey, right? Or even the Odyssey. Like, it's not color on the inside. Yes, it represents things, but like, it's just a little issue I have personally. I want to provide something like this, fully painted, but I don't have the time. Color. Yes, the printer takes longer, but I don't have to paint it. So it's actually saving me time in the long run. And it doesn't cost me anything to leave the printer running in an extra 12 hours, other than electricity, which is still manageable, even here, coming into the Swedish winter. Alright guys, I've blathered on way too much about this, but I really do believe that color printing with FDM is a way forward. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope you guys will be too. So let me switch here. I need to just switch out the source file here. Never mind the sound in the background. Let's go and change this to Hi, I'm Ben from Second Dynasty. For 8 years, we've been designing 3D-friendly science fiction scenery for your tabletop, from nostalgic interiors to complete starships. If you're like me, you might have backed a lot of STL campaigns.
And hope it's not jerky. So, here we go. I think it's about 15 minutes.
And maybe it's getting hard to justify backing more. Either you already own a mountain of unpainted terrain, or have a horde of STL files choking up. Alright guys, let's start the tour as it exists today. Mind the mess. I've been taking a few new photos of Cocytus Station with the combination of our past and present offerings. So, a broad overview of the station. The entire board here is 5 foot by 3 foot. That would be 1.5 meters long by about 90 centimeters deep. The lighting is Brick Bling. It's a brand that makes lighting kits for Lego kits, and they're very modular. They don't require any wiring. You just plug and play. It runs off a USB. I can actually show off at the back how it's running for the curious. So this is very much behind the scenes, like literally behind the scenes. You can see some of the lighting here to achieve some of this underfloor look. So there's some LED strips under there. You can see the plugs. I haven't actually got the this wiring covered at the moment, but one of the the next stretch goal we're gonna unlock is for some covers for this. So we've got like the circuit board that feeds into, I think I've got 4 USB plugs, so I think I've got 4 light kits in total. They run off this remote. So, for example, let's see, that's upside down. I can, have them turn on one light at a time. I can have some, blinking effects. Works to varying degrees. I don't think it's really meant to have like 4 light kits all at once. But I found that there are limits to the amount of power. So the more you plug in, the weaker the lights will look. Let's see. Just trying out a few effects here. There's some where it just like is a light up type situation. And then of course we just have the regular. So yeah, we do have those boards. You can see some of the ceiling lighting here. Got some more LED strips actually hidden down here. And So here we have, actually the very first section I worked on was the corridors. This was a great work in progress because, or rather a great way of learning how to color 3D print. We'll be seeing a little bit later some of the benefits of not just color printing, but by splitting up the models a little bit. So, for example, the corridors you can pretty much print with any printer that's FDM. Just doing the parts in one color, another range of parts in this other color, and then they snap together gluelessly, of course, and you can clip them in too if you want a tighter fit. So I've just started expanding with a lower version of this, and I still need to model up some doors. But yeah, that was the first section I worked on. The second was the research lab. So we've got like a little patient room. That's just a lighting effect there. The beds and machinery is actually a single filament color. We've got some miniatures here. I believe, yeah, that's the one on the left is a Sleipnir miniature. The other one is a traveler miniature. Then we have some more traveler miniatures. I think the Varga kind of gives it away, even if he's a bit big. We've got this nice sort of MRI type machine. Maybe you could imagine it as a sort of total recall like thing as well. Some other machinery in there. Lighting does a lot, as well as like this combination, for example. On the floor, we have a silk filament for the white, which reflects a lot, and then we've got this combined with matte wall colors. And these doors, you kind of print out the strips separately. They can sort of fit into place without glue. You could put in blue tack, but there it's kind of like, if you want to make them permanent, glue is the best option. But that's like the only area where you would need it, or really want it, just so you can get so many color variations there. So you can do amazing things with just 3 or 4 different filaments. You can see here you've got the translucent filaments. Really looking awesome with those sample containers. And the computer screens, for example, and I think it's apple green, ironically. We've got like a head researcher's office. Oh, what's happening in there? Probably just knocked the table, but maybe there's more of a story. A server room. with these retro futuristic cassette futurism style machines. Got cold storage, and again, just multi-part prints where one or more of the parts are in different colors can make a huge difference. So the third section I worked on was the hangar. So let me go back around so we can get a closer look at it. And classic Shuttle Alpha Mark IV. Top of the Erebus. We've got my version of the Rampart. And got the Taurus Centaur APC, which of course also is GridForge and color printed, so you have like the seating area inside. Looks like one or two things might have come loose in there, but never mind. Just got a couple of aliens, colonial marines from Another Day in the Core, and a Popsicles large Xeno. The exterior terrain here is modular. Here is the new ramp, or rather the prototype. So the final version has some more clips, so you can secure it if you want. There's like, I think this wall is all clipped in, and then you have like loose variants which you can just pull it out. Sorry. Okay, yes, the hangar. So we have this little nook where I used to have my power loader. The power loader is currently in a different room because it needed to live a little bit with the what am I saying? I wanted to use it in a little diorama with the new dropship I made for tribes. You can see the massive size of the Imperial tank here from the 5th Frontier War. That is painted, but yeah, a thing of note, like aside from these newer vehicles here, nothing is painted. The miniatures are painted. Everything else is just color printing, and just a combination of two, I think maximum 6 different filaments. So we've got ladder wells there. You've got your airlock, which is quite modular. You could actually expand that quite a bit. I knocked the wall out there because I had a light on. So where did that go? It's here, off to the side. actually demonstrate here how these connect. So we have a standard tile. Sorry, let's see if we can get that in focus. Maybe by moving it over here. Alright, so you've got your standard tile here. This is an earlier example. These days I probably would have changed this a little bit. But at the bottom you have the GridForge pattern. So it prints like so. Just color switches when it's time for a new color layer. And you can see there are clip holes on the side to connect it. Now, the frames themselves are compatible with OpenLock as well as other GridForge items, so it remains compatible with all our past products. So this will fit loosely just into this slot. So you can see the frame there. The 3 actually denotes how snug the fit is. So 3 is sort of like middle of the road. We have from 0, which is no friction, to 6, which is maximum friction. Like a 3, 2 or 4 will usually get you snug enough that if you flipped it upside down, it would hold. So that just slots in like so. Oops. There we go. And that's sitting loosely at the moment. You could clip it in if you wanted to. Maybe Walker there with a flamethrower ready to meet whatever's in this suit, I guess. Control room. And again, you can see the brick ring lighting and some of our cable management here. So that will also be included. Here is the vehicle bay, one of the new sections. You can actually see one of those cable management products here. I'm still trying to figure out new ways to make the cables look more natural. We'll get to that. I just popped a Zodoni. This is from Fifth Frontier War, one of the Zodoni vehicles, into the garage. You can see one lone Imperial Marine trying to hold them off. One of my favorite parts here is this little mechanic bay. This little light. And again, like, all of this is pretty modular, so you could, for example, make this bay another tile wider. You could even make it go up another level, I think. Let's see. This goes back out into the corridor there. We've got the Electo. Again, just a 4-color print. We can do so much with reflective versus matte filaments, and even write straight into the print, like the name there. And actually, the same is true of the exterior doors. So for example, here we have the vehicle airlock A2. On the other side, I've put in some semiotics and text, just warning, hostile environment beyond. I love that. So let's just put it in place. You can see how it fits. Whoops. Just slots down like so. I'm being a bit careful as not to wiggle it free. It is hard to do this with one hand. And this is actually expandable, so you can make the door larger if you want. Right, so then we've got our power plant, which is 2 levels, a bunch of machinery. Look at this awesome. It's hard to get really clear FDM filament, but you can achieve a lot just by making it like semi-transparent. So you can actually see. It's hard to see because there's a light on top, but there's like you can get some glow through the tops of these. That sort of cooling fluid downstairs is transparent filament with some LED lighting underneath. I think that came out really cool. And there's a bunch of plugs and things in a lot of this machinery that will be compatible with those flexible cables. In fact, you can see one here. So it is print in place, one piece, that cable running down there is filament. It's not hugely flexible, but I think a cool effect. And then the final section is the administration, I guess, or executive suite of quarters. So we've got some offices. This I'm thinking of turning into a bathroom. We've got the front desk. This is actually just a side effect of printing in multicolor. I just had a transparent filament, made this cool little sort of object for cleaning different filaments out that ended up looking really cool, so I stuck it in. You got Cocytus administration there written straight into the wall. Again, semi-transparent tiles allow light bleed. We've got the boardroom. Again, I must have knocked this so some of the chairs have fallen over. This is the full version of the boardroom. So there's like a window, some proper doors, sort of like wooden effect. The actual doors are using a wood filament. The rest is like, I think it's a dark chocolate. We have the talking room, which is heavily inspired by a certain series that was recently airing. And we have the CEO office, which is unnecessarily large. I just stuck in a Traveller ship manager because I thought it looked like a cool model. And we have the CEO desk. And we're going to do some plants too. So that's just a prototype. But I think a bit of greenery really shows off how luxurious it is. Yeah, lighting makes this thing look incredible. And I've got to tell you, my phone camera is pretty shite. So it actually looks so much better in real life. And again, this is a copper filament. You can get some nice reflectivity there. It's actually built with a gap in between. So you could conceivably put some downward pointed lighting in there. Would look really good. Alright. I think that will do for now. So guys, back to the other Ben and Maya. Alright guys, I'm going to head out. I'll get that re-uploaded, hopefully without those audio issues. I think it's just a different frame rate. And I will catch you guys next week. Check out the links below, like, and subscribe. Bye guys.